Hello, everybody. Welcome to the success story series that is currently going on for RBI Grade B 2023 cycle. And today we have one more topper with us, Ms. Jhansi Patnaik, who has recently cleared the examination of RBI Grade B and now soon to join the organization. We will understand each and everything about her journey from herself. But before that, let's just welcome her on our platform. Hi, Jhansi. Welcome on EduTab, and we congratulate on your big achievement.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Right. Okay. So before even starting, I would want you to tell everybody like what's your education qualification and how did you get to know about this RBI examination and finally you started preparing for it.
Like coming to my educational background, I have graduated in 2019. I was a BTech graduate. During my graduation, I got placed in two campus placements, but I wasn't interested in joining the software industry. So I wanted to do something in the public sector. So I started giving government exams and I gave SBI PO and I could clear it in 2021. I was SBI PO 2020 batch and I joined the bank in 2021. During my SBI PO interview stage, I was having my RBI prelims exam. So just I gave my interview. The very next day I had the prelims. I went, I gave the prelims, but I couldn't qualify the prelims. I wasn't serious that time for the RBI exam. I just wanted to attempt it. So I missed the cutoff by 0.25 marks. Thereafter, after joining the bank, I understood the importance of RBI in the financial sector and all, and I gained interest towards it. Then I gave my 2022 attempt. I missed the mains by 6 marks. Then in 2023, I could clear the mains and then I prepared for interview and I got through the exam this year.
Yes.
So I could not clear the mains in my second attempt in 2022. By 6 marks, I missed the mains. Then in 2023, I again gave with more preparation and I was able to clear it this year.
Right. One thing I really want to ask, like before even starting off with the strategies you followed, because many aspirants they face this. Right. For example, first year you could not clear by 0.25 marks, right? Then afterwards you could not clear by six marks, right? And there is like 2 years that you have dedicated to a certain examination, and you're doing that along with the job. Like after 1 year, you were doing that along with the job, right? So what kept you motivated? Because when you have dedicated your 2 years to something and you do not get the result, definitely you must have felt disheartened, and many aspirants do feel so. And that moment, like what was that motivating factor for you, or what made you yourself be disciplined with the studies and to pursue your dreams?
The main motivating factor was RBI itself for me. I wanted to join the big organization. Like SBI is good and it is fine, but RBI has the bigger picture. So I wanted to join it. That made me move. Like even if it was another extra year, I wanted to give it. Like maybe it will happen
Yeah.
this year. I was hoping so. I was
Right.
positive about it.
And like what were your parents' reactions? So were they like, yeah, okay, fine, go towards your dream, or they were more like you're already settled, let's just enjoy your youth time that you have
Yeah.
instead of again just focusing on studies and everything?
Like my parents were like they wanted me to settle down, like how many exams, how many times you want to write,
Yeah.
it is okay, this job is good and it is well settled, you are okay with it, why do you want to stress yourself more?
True.
And
Right.
girls will have shorter period of enjoyment, like again we have to go to marriage and all.
True.
So they were like enjoy this period, but I don't know why, but I was reluctant, like I wanted to give it my 100%. In my previous two attempts, I wasn't giving my 100% and I knew it like internally. So I wanted to give the third time my last 100%. So I wanted to try it in that way.
True. And that's very true. Like parents' concern is also like understandable because you have already had a stable job, right? So maybe you could have like stopped with it. But yes, one key takeaway which aspirants would can have, many aspirants they have this belief, that maybe the parents are not that much encouraging towards the dream or anything. It's like if you have faith in yourself, like no parents would want bad for you, right? But you
Yeah.
should have faith in yourself that you will be able to dedicate that time and clear the examination. And even if you're not getting any support, but if you have faith in yourself, definitely you can do the wonders, right? Okay, so we will talk about the different sources you took for the different subjects that we have, right? But before that, I really want to know the schedule of a working candidate. Like, how many hours did you or were you able to dedicate with the hectic job you had? And was it sometimes it must have been hard, to maintain that consistency. So how did you fight that urge of procrastination, maybe, or maybe of that of laziness?
Um, what I used to do was I was a morning person. So basically I used to sleep early. Like after coming from the office at 9:30 or 10, I used to sleep. Then in the morning at 4 o'clock to 8:30, I used to study. Like in the working days, it would be a solid of 4 hours, 4 to 4.5 hours. Like morning 4 o'clock to 8:30 at max. Then during the weekends, on holidays, I used to stretch it to 8 hours to 10 hours. But because being a working candidate will get very less free time. So I used to have some skip days and I used to have some cheat days. I used to skip sometimes, but mostly I tried to be consistent. And one more thing is I used to have a full-time aspirant friend. So she used to complete everything. So
Okay, okay.
I used to get motivated from her, like she's completing, so I have to do it.
Yeah.
So that was helpful for me. Like having a full-time aspirant, it gave me a like reality check. Like, okay, I have to complete it today, or else she
Hmm.
will be doing it before me. So we
Yeah,
used to have that healthy
maybe the
competition.
all the full-time aspirant, they would have more time to do. And even like if you be just lazy with the few hours you have, you might be behind the
Behind
competition.
them. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So now if we talk about for phase one, and before that, I want to ask, like, because you had dedicated 2 years, right? So was it like you used to read throughout the years, or you still feel like, if for certain months you would study, if you have like decent enough base in like quant, reasoning, and English, like certain months are more than enough to prepare for RBI. Like, what's your take on this particular topic?
I feel certain months is enough. Like from the notification, like before the notification, 3 months are important. After the notification, we'll have 4 months. Like
Hmm.
6 to 8 months is enough for the exam, I feel.
Right. So, if you talk about quant reasoning, so you have already given and cleared the banking exam. So, do you feel like it's like similar only, like if somebody is preparing or they have appeared for SBI or IBPS, they will be easily able to do the quant and reasoning section of RBI as well?
Like the questions would be similar, but the strategy which we have to follow in RBI prelims is quite different when compared to bank PO exams. Like in RBI prelims, what I observed is we'll have difficult questions and easy questions, and in prelims it is about the cutoff itself. Like we have to clear
Yeah.
the cutoff for quant reasoning, and English and GK would be the scoring
Hmm.
parts, which I felt. So for quant and reasoning, we have to be selective in picking up the questions. They will be easy questions, but with practice and giving mocks only, we'll know how to choose those easy questions. And that art has to be developed by the candidate, I feel.
Right. See, usually when somebody is preparing specifically for RBI, so they just go for the selective topics and they start off with the preparation. But anybody is like complementing it with the other banking examination, so there they cover all the chapters because there's more about speed and like the questions, that sort of questions are come. So being a banking aspirant, or maybe who has cleared banking other banking examination, and then when they sit for the RBI's examination, isn't it tempting to attempt as many questions as they can, or maybe go dive into such question which you think might be
Right.
complicated, but you will be able to do that, so to have that, you can say, ego or that pride, that no, how can I not solve it? So how
Yeah,
did you fought with that temptation?
that is natural. Like some questions will be when we read it, we'll feel like yeah, it is doable, and when we do it, also it takes time. But in 5 more minutes, we'll get the answer. We'll feel it in that
Hmm.
way, and we'll waste all the 15 minutes with one question. That happens, but I think that can be avoided with mocks. Like when you practice more mocks, you'll
Hmm.
be understanding. Already, whichever mock we are practicing, they will develop such questions also, like which are time consuming and tempting. So we have to give a lot of mocks, I felt, for prelims. And also, what I want to share is during my prelims examination, like my preparation, I did only 1 month before the prelims exam. I started my
Okay.
practice. So
Hmm.
I directly gave mocks only. I did not prepare anything extra for prelims. So what happened is one day I was giving this EduTap All India mock. So I was like pretty sure I would clear the cutoff for every time. So I wasn't seeing a cutoff till that time. That day I came from office at 7 o'clock around and I started giving the mock. The mock will be closed at 8 o'clock around in the night. So I started my mock, I completed. I wasn't sure I did it well or not. But my friend was like, you will clear it, it is okay.
Yeah.
Then results came, I saw I cleared the overall cutoff, but I could not clear the sectional cutoff. Then a new thing came into my mind, like, okay, I have to consider the sectional cutoff also. That is also important. That was helpful in my mains, like the real exam, because the paper was very tough. We have to do selective picking up of questions, or else we cannot clear the cutoff. Like the sectional cutoff, overall cutoff. I have seen two of my friends, they cleared the overall cutoff, but they could not clear the sectional cutoff, and they could not clear the prelims itself. So I felt that is an important thing candidates have to note.
Right, it's a very important key takeaway. First of all, to focus on the sectional cutoff also, and this you will only get to know that if you're going to clear the sectional cutoff or not when you do more and more mock test. Sometimes, when you're not working under pressure, you might solve as many questions as possible. But when you have a restrictive time frame and in that time period you have to clear the sectional cutoff, you might get stuck. So as Jansi also said, when she attempted the All India mock test by EduTap, then only she got to know that okay, sectional cutoff is something that she needs to focus on. Before that, she was practicing questions, she was doing mock tests, but there was not much focus that was given specifically to the quant section. All right. So for that quant reasoning, I would say like assume that the topics that you have done in your preparation for other banking examination, that was enough. But just having more and more mock tests would made you understand it what the RBI requirement is. But the topics are that only, right? Now, but if you talk about general awareness and as a especially as a like working candidate, right? So for general awareness, there is a lot of diversified questions that are asked and which are actually, random also. There are 80 questions and they can be asked from any report. It can be from schemes with a lot of data and information, with RBI's news that banking news that are so many and other random general awareness. So what was your focus on? Did you just focus on only some sections that I am just going to prepare with that, or what strategy which suited to you?
Since I was a working candidate, I had very limited time for current affairs. So what I did was for 3 to 4 months, just before the prelims, I prepared holistically, like the total, everything, whichever is important, everything I used to cover the last 3 to 4 months completely. But for the last 6 months, I couldn't do the last 6 months. So 4 months I did completely, but the other 2 months I relied only on the marathon sessions. Of EduTap, and whichever marathons were available, I followed all the marathon sessions. Like for the prelims, I used to see all the videos. I wasn't a candidate who was more interested in PDFs. I was like more interested in the videos. I could understand if someone explains me with videos. So I used to see the videos of marathon sessions, and they were helpful for me.
Great. And for the 4 months also, did you relied on the videos only?
Yeah, on the videos only. But I used to see the monthly videos and the weekly videos, the Affairs Cloud weekly videos in that way.
Yeah.
But for the overall 6 months, I used to see mostly the marathon sessions.
Right. So, like for example, if somebody, when they are in the preparation, so PDF they find more handy in the sense because there's more information is there. So definitely, if you learn more things, there are more chances of you to answer a question, right? And it's comparatively easier to have that one PDF and do the revision. But as you were saying that you were watching videos, and visual videos are also very like limited time period. That maybe it can be of 20 to 30 minutes maximum, right? So first of all, how did you build that trust that okay, these are the news I have to cover, अब चाहे इससे आगे आए या ना आए, I would just focus on these. And along with that, revision becomes a little bit difficult because if you are then relying on PDFs, there will be like n number of PDFs, or if you're watching the videos, that is also like tedious task again doing that, right? So how you handle that particular situation?
For videos, what I did was I used to see it at 2x speed. But if I was revising the videos, I used to revise it also from the videos itself because I did not prepare any notes. I wasn't making notes for the current affairs because of less time. So if I was seeing the videos in the revision phase, I used to watch it at 3.5 or 4x
Hmm.
speed. So already I've seen the video, so I would remember some of the content. So even if I watch it at a speeder pace, I used to understand it. So I felt I could save some time in that way.
Right. And on that factor that you're just going for the limited news only. So what your experience said that like it's fine, just to have limited but more revision, or you felt like like dekha jayega, I'll be able to manage.
Like I don't know, but what I did was in the previous attempt I was confusing myself with so many sources, so I didn't want to do it in my this attempt. So I
Hmm.
kept my sources limited, but whatever source I was following, I was believing it like it will be helpful and it will do. So
Right.
I think that confidence itself made it happen. Like it was supportive.
Right. And it's very important also. I, during my workshops, I say to people, like, first of all, just search the best source for you and then just get stick to it. Like, if you go behind multiple resources, definitely you would have a lot of information, but then you would have to mug up and retain that information also. So it's better if you just stick to the resources, have trust on them, and then just revise. All right. So that you did for phase one, right? And if we talk about phase two, we have like descriptive answer writing, it is also there. And as like we discussed about your background, so you do not have any like UPSC sort of preparation earlier, so it's like descriptive is comparatively difficult to the aspirants who have never have prior experience in UPSC or other such examination where descriptive is asked, right? So if I talk about specifically just for the descriptive sake part, like for descriptive section, what was your general strategy? Like, did you used to write answers every day, or you were more focused on just learning the theories and it how it comes out when you write? How did you do?
I actually prepared answers for all the questions which were available in the syllabus paper. Like I used to pick up the syllabus paper and
Hmm.
suppose any topic is there, I used to frame a question and I used to prepare an answer for it.
Okay.
Like before the notification
Hmm.
coming only, I started my descriptive preparation. I had the Word document. I used to type like digitally.
Hmm.
I used to type instead of making any notes.
Hmm.
So almost all the syllabus questions, like whichever question is available in the syllabus, I used to have the answers for that. So I consolidated all, and after the phase one, we will not have much time to prepare an
Yeah.
answer. So
Right.
whatever answers I prepared, I used to revise them and I used to memorize those answers only.
Great. So while preparing, are there some points which you feel like are very important to add in the answers and which you followed, which can help the aspirants also to frame questions or answers like such?
Yeah, actually, when we read certain news or the PIB or the like schemes or anything, there will be some data points which can be added in your answers. So what I used to do was I used to keep a Word document and I
Hmm.
used to copy paste all the important data figures which can be added in my answer during my answer writing preparation. And I used to see it at least once in a day or twice. When I see that this data is available with me, and when I used to write some answer, I used to try to fit that data in that answer. Like
Okay.
whatever data I
Hmm.
am having, how can I utilize it and fit it in my answer? I used to think it in that way because we'll have limit in the exam pressure. We'll not remember all the static points what we
Yeah.
wanted to write. So there will be standardly some 5-6 points which we can fit in the answer. So I used to try to memorize those points more.
Right. But like when making this fodder material or priorly making any particular answer, we are adding a lot of data points so that our main answer can have enriched data in that, right? So isn't it like confusing also, because a lot of like syllabus is vast and per that syllabus we have so many answers prepared and all have that data. So what's your trick was to memorize that data, or whenever you used to write?
I did not have any trick as such. I used to try to see the PDF more times, like at least once a day, so that
Hmm.
I used to memorize at least some points of it, and I used to try to replicate in my answers even while practicing. Like same point will be repeated in 3-4 answers. Like for
Right,
financial
right.
inclusion, I'll use the same thing, and for the inflation answer also, I'll use the same figure if it is applicable
Hmm.
for both.
Hmm.
So with the more emphasis, I felt like it is okay. Like you can remember certain points to certain extent. So I used to try to remember such points only.
True, and in fact, you can use approximation also, like approx 20%. If it is like data is 20
Mhm.
point something, even if you're using approx, that would also do. And your subconscious mind somehow it would like make you write that particular digit. Like if your
Yeah.
subconscious mind would know that if it's 300 or just 3%. So that also helps during the examination. All right. And now if you talk about like theoretical content in finance and management, the theoretical content is asked a lot, right? So for that, did you like from where did you prepare, and how did you practice for it?
For finance and management, I entirely relied on EduTap itself. Like from the summary sheets, I have prepared for the objective, and for the descriptor, they have the fodder material wherein the questions
Yeah.
and the answers. Even we have certain quotes and examples are also given for the management answers. So I used to read those, and I used to do selective picking, and I used to frame my own answers, seeing that material.
All right. And for the ESI, because the ESI is very like diversified, not like it, unlike FM where static is asked a lot, in ESI it's more about the current affair basis. So for that, your preparation should be as such, right? So for current affair like basis questions, did you follow the same trick that you just picked out the topics and made the fodder material beforehand, or here you had some other approach?
No, I followed the same approach, but for ESI, more current topics I used to try to frame, like even in the editorial, if some topic is
Hmm.
coming in 2-3 days, like continuously, then I used to try to write an answer on it, like the current topic, maybe which may be the social issues which may be asked in the
Right.
exam.
So initially, it must have taken a lot of time, because aspirants, what
Yeah.
they do when they start off with the preparation and they feel like they're taking half an hour, 1 hour to just write an answer, they get demoralized. So, but if a topper would say that no, it happens with everybody, even they have that confidence that okay, I'll just practice and I'll have, I would my hand would get better after a time.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. Even I used to feel like initially for me for one answer I used to take 2.5 hours for preparing one
Okay.
answer, like searching
Hmm.
in Google and getting the
Hmm.
data points and framing a correct answer and typing it, and again the grammatical mistakes. It is all a tedious process. I used to feel why this much time. Instead of that, just I'll note down the points in a paper
Yeah.
and I'll revise those points. That would be enough. I'll go and give it in the directly in the exam. I
Hmm.
used to feel it in that way, but I didn't want to take a chance in this attempt. Last attempt, I did it in the same way. Like I prepared only some points and I
Hmm.
went and gave directly in the exam. But this time I wanted to prepare holistically. So uh, one of my friend was there. Like she was a full time aspirant, so she used to complete her answers very fastly. So seeing her answers, we used to evaluate
Yeah.
each other
Hmm.
answer. So it was helpful for me in that way. Because of her, I was able to complete it to certain extent. Okay, some motivation factor is there.
Yeah. Right. And for English, like English, did you prepared, or many aspirants that do not prepare, thinking it's English and it works for them, right? What
Maybe.
was your what was your experience?
Actually, in my previous attempt, I missed the mains by 6 marks. That was because of English. Like English, I got very less marks in my previous attempt in 2022. When I saw the scorecard, my ESA and FM marks were like okay, like everyone gets that average marks only. But coming to English, I got 50 only, while one of my friend got 70. So a margin of 20 marks was there. Other
Yeah.
subjects, we got the same marks.
Hmm.
For English, he got qualified. I didn't get qualified. So I thought I have to focus more on English this time because English is such a subject. It has equal weightage, but it
Hmm.
needs lesser efforts and lesser time
Hmm.
when compared to ESA and FM. So
FM.
I prepared a lot for English this time actually.
So,
When
like,
compared to
what difference? Like, what's the difference that in your approach for English was this year from the last time? Like,
uh,
when you say that you prepared for English, so it means like, did you used to practice all questions every day, or what was the lacking? Did you find that this was the lacking in my last time?
uh, uh, basically for English, last time I did not prepare anything. Like English is basic, so
Yeah.
essay and Prezi, I just saw the basic rules and I gave
Hmm.
directly in the exam itself. I directly attempted. But this time, what I did was I saw the videos of EduTap. Like before itself, it will be like what are the rules of Prezi
Hmm.
and what are the rules for RC. the basic videos, I have seen it again, even though they are basic, but we'll miss some points. So I felt we have to watch it once again. So I took 1 week's time and I watched all the videos. Then I started giving Pressy, like weekly, at least once I used to write a Pressy. And for RCs also, like we have the editor mock. So yeah, before the prelims only, I gave 2-3 English mocks, full length mocks.
Okay.
Because for English, we need not prepare much. We can give the mock even before the prelims, and they got evaluated for me. So I used to understand where I was lacking. So I gave all the mocks, like 5 mocks will be available. I gave all of them. And English, mostly the word limit has to be met, and spelling mistakes should not be there. The spelling mistakes was one of my weakness. Like when we type fastly, I used to not check the answer again because no time used to be. But slowly with practice, I started correcting my spellings and grammatical errors, and that helped me a lot, I think.
Right. Okay. And this time, like when you came out of the examination center after giving a phase 2, so this time were you like confident that you're going to get the interview call, or because of the past experience, you were all skeptical about this thing?
I was skeptical actually because the first paper was FM, and I did not. One 10 marker was left for me when there was 5 minutes was left, and one 10 marker was left. I did not complete it fully, like half only I did. And after that, we had a break for ESA and English. I was already disappointed by that time, but somehow I got some
Gathered the
confidence and I
courage. Yeah.
gave. And I gave the exam, but I wasn't confident, like, okay, this time it will happen. But I was like, let's see when it comes, when the result comes. So I wasn't that way. But I wasn't like confident, okay, I did very well. I didn't feel it in that way.
Right. So once like when the result was out and you saw your name and you knew now you're getting the interview call, right? Now what were the steps that you take for the interview preparation?
For the interview preparation, first, what I did was the biodata filling. We have to submit the biodata within a week or so after the interview call has come. So I prepared my biodata thoroughly. One day, the first day I sat down and I wrote all the data. And the third, fourth day, I started sharing my biodata to 2-3 of my friends, like who have already attempted the RBI exam. So they were telling certain changes, like major changes were like the same information, but the way we present it makes an impact. So I understood that thing, and I showed my biodata to 2-3 people, and then I uploaded the biodata. I feel like the biodata is the question paper which we are preparing for ourselves for the panelists. Like we'll know the answers. So that basic thing we have to know. Like whatever is mentioned in the biodata, that is the basic thing which the panel expects us to know. So I did it carefully. That was one thing. Then RBI working and functions PDF I have prepared. And I gave lot of mock interviews and self-practice. Those were the things I did for the interview.
Right. But so how similar or different the mock interviews are from the main interview? And how do you feel like, or did you feel that these mock interviews help you in the main interview?
Mock interviews for my mock interview and the main interview were entirely different. But it did help me because like the way we speak and our body language, the recorded session which we get after the mock interview, when we see that session, we'll understand like unknowingly we are giving certain expressions or we are using our hands in a certain way that it brings us to some consciousness like about certain things. That was helpful, and also we'll get to know we'll practice to speak because in the prelims and mains we do not speak much, but in the interview our body language and speaking skills are also important. But my interview was mostly based on my biodata and current affairs and RBI related functioning. They asked me regarding these.
Right. Okay. And like, were there times where you could not answer any question?
Yeah. I did not answer like some 3 to 4 questions, but I did not guess. I did not try to guess the answers. I knew the answers for 1-2 questions, but I was not sure about it. So I kept silent. I told them like, I don't know, sir. I don't know. I will look into it, sir. They were okay with it. Like they did not push me like, This
Yeah.
is very basic. You have to know. They did not tell it
Mm.
in that way. They were accepting it like, okay, you don't know, we'll go to the next question. They were moving it.
Okay. Okay. So that was good that the panel did not like anyhow they provide they gave you any stress. But you know, as a candidate who's sitting there who aspires to be an institute and he has been asked the question and he's not able to answer that. What's that feeling at that moment? That you might get stuck that that no God I don't know this answer, and did you get that in that loop, you know that and you get stuck there. So at that moment, like how actually is the feeling, and especially being an RBI grade B aspirant, at that moment how things go in the mind, and how much, you know, how then you just move out of that situation and come to the next question.
When we do not know an answer, we'll feel like blanked out, like that. The question also will not be like out of something they ask. That
Yeah.
would be the basic question, and we'll feel like, array, we have to know this question. No, in that way
Hmm.
only we'll feel. But the basic thing is that if you don't know something, do not try to tell something out of guessing, because the panel
Yeah.
will know that if you guess something, and they can easily identify that you're guessing it or you're telling it wrong. If you don't know, if you tell genuinely or you don't know, that is okay. But if you're telling
Hmm.
something wrong information as a correct information, it means that you do not, you know it wrongly.
True.
No,
Hmm.
unknowing is okay, but knowing something wrongly is different.
Yeah.
So the panel doesn't want such candidates, I feel.
Right. So it's better, you know, if you don't know, just to like switch your mind to
Genuinely
the
feel.
next question that's being there, and
Yeah.
instead of, you know, just lying about the things that you don't know about. All right. And the so after the interview, like were you fine with your performance, or those questions which you could not answer, those gave you the those nightmares till the time the result was out?
I was skeptical about the interview also, because some of the questions I did not answer, and some of the questions I did not answer it properly. Like I did
Hmm.
not frame it properly, I felt. But after the interview, I did not think too much about the results because of office work and all. I
Hmm.
moved out of that excitement or that tension or pressure
Yeah.
of the results. And my results were also out quickly. Like after my
Hmm.
interview, within 1 month, the results were out. Uh, but I wasn't in that loop of pressure of results.
Right. So, like, how was the day when the result was announced? Like, we would want to know about that. What was your feeling? Where were you at? And how your parents reacted?
Actually, I was at office like around at 6 o'clock. The results were out, but I was at office. One of my friend has kept the status like I got selected for RBI grade.
Mm.
Then I realized that okay, results are out. But I didn't want to see it in the office. Like I wanted to
Mm.
see it in my home with my parents. But I wasn't able to go to my home so fastly. So I went to my home at 8 o'clock around. From 6 to 8, like it was the most tension moment for me. Then at 8 o'clock I went. Then I saw the result. My name was my roll number was in the starting.
Mm. Mm.
So my name was in the fourth or fifth number. I was like, so it wouldn't be there. I was searching first with control F. It is not being visible.
Yeah.
Then I was seeing with the serial number. Then it is
Mm.
visible in the fifth number itself. Then I was like, I was saying my mother, you to see it is my roll number or not, check my roll number. Then
Yeah.
my father came, I was asking him also to check once. So
Mm.
all three saw, then we confirmed, okay, half an hour took for confirmation only, like my result came, it is okay. Then after that, I felt like good. Like
Mm.
then I started
Relieved.
observing the results, like, yeah, I got
Mm.
selected, it is nice.
Right, right,
It
true.
was a good
Okay.
moment, but yeah.
Right, and now soon you are to join the institute. We wish you very best for your future journey. And so that was the journey of Miss Jhansi Patnaik, who has from just being an RBI Grade B aspirant, now she has become an officer in RBI. And at the end, I would like you to say something to the aspirants who are preparing for the examination, like something word of advice from your experience that you had, which can help the aspirants in future.
Okay. So what I feel is we have to give 100% of our efforts. The results are positive or negative, that is different, but you should feel like you have given your 100%.
Hmm.
That itself is success. Like when you give your 100%, that is okay. Even if you fail or pass, that is secondary. But try to give your 100% and try to be consistent in whatever you're doing. And it is okay to feel depressed, or it is okay to feel down and to have cheat days on sometimes. it is not like, don't be so harsh on yourself. You can have some enjoy moments also during the preparation, because it is a hectic journey, and it would take
Yeah.
a lot of time and lot of effort from the candidate, and often we be so harsh on ourselves that we'll feel, no, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that. Sometimes it is okay to have cheat days, I feel. So these
Right.
are the two things. And lastly, I would like to thank my friend, that Saujanya Banerjee. She helped me a lot during my preparation. She was a full-time aspirant, and she helped me a lot. And even Palak ma'am had given the interview last time in the success story. She was my inspiration. Like, she was a SBI candidate, and she was working. She was
Yeah.
my batchmate actually in 20 SBI PO 2020 batch.
Okay.
So I was like, when she was able to do while working, I can also try. Or else, like many candidates will be like, we'll resign and we'll prepare. But
Yeah.
she was one of the candidates who prepared while working. So she was my inspiration. Like, when someone while working, she is trying, we can also try. That
True.
positive instinct came from her. So I feel thankful for her. And thirdly, I would like to thank my family and my friends who have helped me throughout the 2 years of my journey. It was very stressful journey, but it was worth it. Like, it was very worth it.
Right, finally it was worth it. That's so true. And yeah, thank you for joining with us, and whatever be the learnings from your journey you have shared with the aspirants, I am sure it is going definitely going to help them. And yeah, all the very best for your future.
Thank you.